Why did I do that? Why did I just start? Okay, whatever. So I started a start broadcast live unconsciously before I got Brian Joseph even on here. That's my bad. So I'm just gonna keep on talking. And then okay, here you are. All right. I accidentally started the broadcast without you even on here because my mind is going in three different directions. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. We're live. I'm sorry. It took like 10 minutes to resolve whatever I was doing on the phone and then microphone issues. What's been up?
Um, well, a bunch of things, but it's
Okay.
just works, not work stuff, but just I guess it's work stuff. I don't know. I do too many things. Uh, no, things have it's all been good. So,
Okay. So I started a open source project. I'm not sure if you follow me like that, but I started an open source project and or open source organization. And you did you start Closure Script or did you
no,
just take a lead role in it, or are you do you have the lead role in it, or you're just an active contributor?
not Clojure script, Elixir script.
Elixir Script, my fault. Where I get
Yeah,
Closure Script for? Okay, did you start Elixir Script?
yeah, I did.
Okay, do you have people helping you out on there, or are you like the lone wolf?
I mean, there are contributions here and there, but it's mostly just been me. Um, and I I mean, I don't know how to get other people working on it. I mean, people seem to be excited about it, but I haven't figured out a way to get like more.
Motivate.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to some other people who have some big Elixir projects um in the community, and I was like, so how do you get people to work on it? And they were both like, yeah, I don't know. So,
Okay, okay. I found that which is kind of different from you, is I invited people to basically start on an open source project without giving them the details of what it would be so that we can have a bunch of content that we can publish to basically promote ourselves as individual professionals.
hmm
And so people were with that, and then everybody's excited. I think for every like project kickoff, people get excited, you know, because it's fresh and it's a clean slate. Everybody has A's, just like grade school, you know.
yeah,
When you're starting off, and then it's what you do that starts basically dictates, you know, your progress or your lack of. And so now I'm at the point where like I can feel like motivation has been dropping off, or maybe it's cyclical. It seems to be picking up again,
hmm
appears, but I did observe like motivation falling off, and as a result, I kind of held myself accountable and said, "Damn, I'm a poor leader. I can't keep people motivated to stay the course and maintain a system of consistent delivery of bits, you know, so that bit after bit after bit, after a couple months or several months consistently, we have something that's usable." And I haven't really been able to communicate that to the open source organization that I tried to lead. So, but it sounds as if you haven't had that opportunity recently.
no, not really. But
Okay.
I mean, I did. So for Elixir script for the longest, it was like under like my I guess GitHub, like my personal GitHub. But then I made it into an organization. Um, and I don't know. That's all I got. But
Okay.
what I was gonna say when you was talking is I mean, it is an open source thing, and it's just like don't stress yourself out about things. Some projects move faster than others. Some projects have more people than others. I mean, it's all about like, I mean, nobody's getting paid. Well, some of us are getting paid for it, but not everybody's getting paid for it. So it's more like a free time thing. So,
Yeah, the way I look at it is, and I guess this is something that I still struggle with or I need to work on, is the belief system.
mhm,
Is my belief system is people tend to find a reason to disqualify me from opportunities that I deserve. And so my whole campaign for probably the last 7 to 10 years is to be undeniable. All right. So when I look at this open source project, I look at it as no one can deny that I spearheaded an open source organization. No
mhm,
one can deny that I led an open source organization. No one can deny that I led a team of developers to deliver software that solves a common business problem.
mhm.
And so I look at it differently. Of it's yes, it's a little bit of a hobby. Yes, it's a lot of educational investment in myself,
Mhm.
but the the true intent is I want to destroy the reasons why people say that I shouldn't have access to opportunities, why people deny me the money that I believe I deserve. And so once I can remove all those barriers, once I can basically not be denied that in which I am fully qualified and you choose not to hire me because you just don't like me. All right. There's something about
Right.
me that you just don't like that you don't want to tell people. Right. That's my whole intent is to be undeniable so that the truth is the truth, that you just don't want to hire me because either it's the way I look or it's the way I talk or it's the way that I may carry myself, but I have all the skills to deliver. And so that's why I take it so seriously, this whole open source thing, because if I can't if I can't acquire significant experience sustainably by employers that are shelling out money, that have the budgets, then this is something that I have to do on my own. This is something that I have to carve my own path that is an alternative to depending on mainstream or corporate America if I feel like they're not giving me those opportunities. So this is a way of me creating my own opportunity that they can't deny, that they can't take away from me. So that's my viewpoint. It may be flawed, but that's my strategy.
Yeah. I mean, if it's flawed, uh, I mean, I'm flawed too because I have like that exact same like mentality. Like a lot of times, it's just like I don't like being told that I can't do something, and
And you're not
um,
ready. That's something else out here. Like, we don't think you're ready,
yeah,
or you don't have this experience. You mean I don't have this? I done wrote like 6 blog post articles on this, right? But
yeah,
you're telling me as a gatekeeper that I don't have the experience, and like that's something I just want to remove. So I deliver an entire solution that's manned, not just myself on a hobby project, but like I literally pull in people in Australia, people in Africa, people in Puerto Rico, etc. And it's like you can't deny that, right? The truth is going to come out one way or the other, and I'm going to make
right,
sure I flush it out so that they can't deny me, but they understand why you didn't pick me. So
yeah.
call it an
Hold on,
anger issue.
hold on, one second.
Yeah. In the meantime, I guess I'll. Where's my new kids project? If you want to see, you want to go again. Let me do this. Let me share my screen. Hide this. Hide this. And sooner, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be troubleshooting. Where am I at? That's right here.
Yeah, sorry, my daughter was in the front crying.
Oh no, we're good. How do I stop sharing my screen?
But no, yeah, yeah, like I was saying, I feel the same way. Like, I if somebody tells me I can't do something, then I like try to prove that I can, or I just go around them and like do things myself.
Yeah.
Like it could be either things like for me and my career, or just I don't know, my well-being, or it can be things in the community. Like I don't know. Like I try to do things also like in New Orleans to like make people look at New Orleans closer, more closely for like tech stuff. Um, I mean, even if it means spending my own money to do it, and I don't know, like somebody telling me no, is not gonna stop me.
Well, what if? Okay, so maybe we're talking about different things because they're telling me no,
Uh-huh.
but the thing is I'm fully qualified, right? Or at least I believe I'm fully qualified, but they're telling me no because maybe I don't fit the persona of someone that can take on that type of responsibility or deliver. I think deliver is a better term. Deliver that the requirements of, or basically deliver that type of solution. You know what I mean? So like, it's more of not really me going out my way to acquire the skills because I would like to think I'm military minded and I could learn anything. I would like to think that. It's more of demonstrating that if you say that I don't have experience in doing something, then let me prove, or you say that I'm not capable of doing something, and that's the reason why you don't want to give me that contract. That's why you don't want to award me, or write the check to me, but you're going to give it to someone that's less disciplined. And the most frustrating thing is you give it to someone that has lower standards, right?
Yeah.
But I care about your budget, and I know that the majority of your budget isn't going to be building software, it's going to be debugging it. And so if I have high standards of automated checks and balances, but you still choose to give someone this opportunity with lower standards, like that, this is the part where like I have to feel like, or I feel I have to go above and beyond to demonstrate how quickly I could deliver, and basically how how well I can establish automation controls so that any issues that come up or any features that are requested, it's just plug and play, and there's less time troubleshooting, debugging, and there's more time scaling or extending. So, and I look at open source as the only way to really, that I'm aware of, to really um, establish that and to really promote yourself. And if no one trusts you to deliver a reasonably complex solution, from imagination to implementation to actually delivery, in which that product or service has a life of its own once you deliver it or give birth to it. I feel like open source is the only way for me to accomplish that if mainstream keeps denying me the opportunity to do it, professionally, and get paid for it. So I look at open source as a gateway to be undeniable, so that I can get those lucrative contracts. So that's all. Whereas I think where you were coming from, it sounded like it was more of a learning and I want to learn this. I want to demonstrate that I have these skills, but it wasn't. I feel like your response wasn't really geared towards like the business aspect of actually making money.
Well, that's part of it too. It's
Okay.
like, yeah, sometimes like when somebody isn't giving you money, you have to like go out and just like make it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you? What's your? Do you have a system when you work on Elixir script?
Uh,
When I say system, like, do you have a routine or a ritual so that you keep moving the ball forward and you're consistently progressing? Or do you take some time off, or you wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, other times? Like, how does that work with you?
well, it's been like 2.5 years, so it's a little bit of all of that. There have been times when I would, work on it like way more than I should every day. Um, there have been times when I had to take breaks because I just like I get to a problem and I just couldn't figure out how to solve it. And so usually for me, the best way to figure out how to solve problems like that is to just walk away from them for a while and come back like when your mind is fully reset, so you can like think about it differently. Um, it's a little bit harder in some cases now because a lot of it is is like that 80% is done, and it's just that last 20% that takes forever.
80% of the time.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so how do I like break down these things into tasks like that I can actually make into issues, and possibly write things up and get them into a place where if somebody actually did want to come and work on something, they could. And that's what I try to do now is like when I have a thought about doing something, then I try to make an issue out of it, um, and see what happens. Um, that's so yeah, I'm kind of all over the place.
Okay.
That that's actually one of the projects where things are a little bit, um, I guess, less organized, um, as opposed to like other projects I've had.
There's 1,081 commits, 7 branches, 21 contributors.
Yeah,
Is that MIT like a software license thing that I see?
yeah.
That's it. Okay. And 3 days ago, let me go to your commits and see what the last one was. Let me see if it's this morning.
It's like an hour ago, and like in one of the branches, there's a pull request I have open.
How do I? Can I sort on most recent? I don't know. See, I'm not a huge Git user. Like a lot of the stuff to me is like complex and I don't really understand. Okay, okay. So it shows on here August 4th was your last commit, or when you push your commits, add more text about global FFI. Okay, like is there how many lines of code is this solution?
Uh,
A lot.
no idea.
Yeah. Oh, because Elixir isn't strongly typed, so there's no like static analysis tools.
It is not strongly typed. There are some static analysis tools. Like there's like linters, and there is a thing that's from Erlang called Dialyzer, which tries to do some like static type analysis. But I don't use any of that here. Good question. How many lines is this? I don't even know how to check.
What's what's the main file in here that has what file do you think I should just look at? I don't understand Elixir script at all. I'm just curious, like what file did you spend a lot of time on?
I mean,
Like,
probably anything in whatever the passes folder. But it's actually um earlier this year, eight well, earlier this year, it was like a bigger project, and then there were some changes in Erlang 20 and Elixir 1.5 where I could get rid of like half the code, so it's smaller now.
I'm looking at function.js. Hold up. What's the file extension on Elixir?
EX.
Oh, okay. All right. So I don't understand any of this. I don't know what I'm looking at. I've yet to find a file that. Where is the EX file at? I promise I'll be done with this really fast. I just want to see what Elixir code looks like.
It's usually in the look in the lib folder.
Oh, hold up. Well, I'm in source JavaScript, which is probably not going to be where Elixir files are.
Nah.
Elixir script. Go back up here. Go to priv build life. Oh, you said lib folder. Okay. Elixir script up here. And okay, module systems. That sounds like a good place. Comment sounds like a good place. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So like, oh, I've been working on this project called Nikeza. Nikeza is Zulu for to give. And to make a long story short, I'm trying to take the content that you have on your blog, that you have on Elixir Fountain, that you have on YouTube, and that you have on your Stack Overflow answers. So basically, your professional web footprint that is basically fragmented across the World Wide Web, or
Mhm.
perhaps distributed across the World Wide Web. And I'm trying to streamline it into one platform where people can subscribe to your content regardless of the websites that your content is on. And so that's Project Nikeza. And I mean, it's pretty cool, but I feel like it's a marathon. Like, I feel like I see the finish line, but it keeps moving further and further away.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So, like, I see so much potential in it, but it's just I'm at the point now where like I'm starting to get really frustrated, and I think people are starting to observe my frustration because
Mhm.
I want to ship it. Like, do you have your first version of Elixir script out, or is there even a alpha?
Oh, there's like, let me see. According to GitHub, there's like 37 releases. I release like as often as possible. I haven't had a release since. This is the longest I have went since not having released since the compiler was rewritten. So it's been about 6 months. But probably gonna release something within the next, well, before ElixirConf. That's my goal.
Rewritten?
Yeah, because of the changes in Erlang 20 and in Elixir 1.5. I had to do some rewriting, but it was all for good stuff. Like it is 100% for the best.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, no, I try to release as often as possible. Like if I have like a good, like, I guess, set of features implemented, um, then I would release something. Just mostly to try to get some feedback, basically. Like to give people, I guess, the comfort that there is something that they can, like, use, and they can like try to report bugs, things like that.
How what's the maintainability of the tests? I assume you got hella tests because I mean you're basically, I don't know what's it called, a transpiler, but you're basically taking Elixir code and spitting out JavaScript, right? So
Yeah.
have you reached thousands of tests yet?
No. Like I had a bunch of tests before I like did a rewrite, and then now I don't have that many.
Okay.
But the test cover, this is another reason why I don't 100% rely on test coverage. And that I wrote a couple of tests here and there, and like test coverage went from like 13 to like 80. And it's like, okay, we're good. But there are some things that like I do try to get some kind of test coverage going. Um, but yeah, it could be a lot better. But
Yeah, it's just you also have to maintain it. And so when you said you had to rewrite a part of the system, I'm like, your tests are all gone, like a
It
significant number
pretty
of them.
much.
If you were on top of the system with tests. Um, the reason why I say that is with Elixir, can you rely on the compiler, or can you put more workload on the compiler to basically remove a certain class of runtime exceptions? So the
Um,
whole notion of making illegal states unrepresentable, like have you been able to? Does Elixir have a compiler?
Elixir does have a compiler.
Okay.
It gets rid of some of those, but not a lot. And
Okay.
actually, the last version of Elixir script kind of like relied on it not doing any of that. So that was another reason for the rewrite. In this one, like it acts more like plain Elixir code. Um, yeah.
Hmm. When's your conference?
Oh well, ElixirConf is in the end of the month. Let me check.
You ready
I'm
for
not,
how many talks you got?
well, I'm not going. But it's September 5th through 8th.
Okay.
It's in Bellevue, Washington.
Bellevue,
Um,
Washington.
yeah.
You been up there?
I actually did go up there like a while back. Let's see. I guess 2011 or 2012. I went up there for a work trip for like I don't know a day and a half, and then came right back down.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Uh,
place.
I did a contract, not in Bellevue or Redmond, but I did a contract in like some hick town called Bothell, Washington. I think 45 minutes away from Seattle. But I did visit the Microsoft campus, and I knew I was the dumbest person there on that campus. Like to like, regardless of reality is, I felt like everybody there had like PhDs and like I just felt like I was a peasant. Like I felt like an intern when I was on that campus because I had lunch there and I was visiting a old coworker. But yeah.
Cool. Is it a big campus? Like, how big is it?
Well, I mean, they have. It appears that they have several buildings,
Hmm.
and it's not just one office building, but they have like buildings, just building here, building there, building. It's like a campus, right? And so I just went there for lunch, and like they had. I'm not sure if they had their own. I thought they had like their own little stores in there. Like
That
this
wouldn't
is from
surprise
like
me.
5 years ago. I don't think they had their own mall, but it they had something in there that was significant. I know their cafeteria was very large. I mean, it wasn't a normal like cafeteria that people go to. Their cafeteria was like a food court. That's the way I felt when I was there. You know, like a food court at a mall where there's different places that you can get cuisine. That's how it looked like when I was on their campus for lunch.
Wow. I guess that makes sense when they have that many employees.
I can only imagine what like Google and Facebook look like because I hear they don't want their employees to leave, so they try to make it as comfortable as possible, and they have these lounges on rooftops and like I don't know. Have you been to any of those campuses?
No, I haven't been to any of those.
I interviewed uh, for Xamarin, and so I was in a Twitter building in San Francisco,
Uh-huh.
and that was pretty cool. Like things are so different compared to like the places I've worked at. Like these people, they have like really cool places to work at, or at least it looks cool. They might all be slaves, but like it it looks very like comfortable. You know,
Yeah.
the work environments that they have set up, couches everywhere, and it just looks very loungish, if that's a word.
Yeah. And I think that's what like you said, it's to entice people to
Enslaved people.
yeah.
So what's next for you? Are you Elixir for the next 3 years? Is there something else on your radar? Are you done with software development? Do you ever see yourself tapping out and pursuing a different interest?
I don't see myself tapping out. Like even if I had like actually, let me backtrack on it. Anyway, even if I had like a bunch of money, which I really want a bunch of money, someone can give me a bunch of money, that'd be nice. I would probably still do some programming here and there. Um,
How do you get a company to pay you to work on this project?
I don't know
Like, for
yet.
example, with Elm, my understanding is the creator of Elm, Eric, whatever his last name is, not to be disrespectful, I don't know his last name. Um, my understanding is a company hired him, and his responsibility is to continue evolving the Elm programming language. Um, so I'm curious, like, how do you convince a company to hire you to, or to finance you to work on Elixir script?
Um, that's a good question.
Yeah. Or
I
else
think
you would be doing it.
yeah, I think I would just have to get more. And this is the part where I'm really bad in, and I think it's kind of ties into the first part of our conversation is I don't know, just getting people to like. Well, the first part of the conversation we're talking about like just us in general, but getting people to believe in the project, I guess, and use it and see some value in it. And if somebody can, if there's value in it, then I think there is more reason for a company who gets value out of it to pay for it. Um, like at my current company, I work at a company in New Orleans called Revelry Labs. Me and my boss have had conversations about it. And it just gets to the point where if it makes business sense, then it's a possibility. But it's it has to make business sense. And I think that's with all of them. With all of the projects that are getting that have companies paying for the development.
So what's the business sense? I mean, I think I know the popular answer, right? Well, what's the business case for Elixir? The whole concurrency and resiliency and no problem if a process fails, spin up another one. Like what's the bit? What type of jobs or what type of problems do we solve with Elixir such that it makes business sense for people to use Elixir as also a language to build web applications. Is that accurate? If it's porting to JavaScript, or it doesn't have to be web? I assume. I mean, if it's porting to JavaScript, it's for a web application. No,
Wait, so Elixir itself, or are you
no,
talking about?
Elixir script.
Oh, Elixir
Well,
script.
it's a two-part question. The first question is, what's the business case for why is Elixir? What type of problems is Elixir better suited for compared to your C sharp or your Scala or your F sharp? You know.
Gotcha. So Elixir itself is suited for a lot of you know the kinds of applications we are building today. So like web apps and backend services and things like that. And it because it's it can use basically all of your like cores and your resources on your machine pretty efficiently without you really doing much. It makes it so that you can use your hardware more efficiently, which means you have less hardware that you need to use. So you can save money in that way. You can service a lot more users. Um, and let's see. So there's that.
So, are there, with that said, are there a certain breed of developers? Like, can someone be a bad developer and but know Elixir syntax and still get a $50,000 a year job and then become a senior and then teach other interns or junior developers bad habits in Elixir? Like, does the programming language really constrain you to do things decently, or is it you can still, as a human being, take a tool and do things that it wasn't meant to do?
Yeah, you can definitely write some bad code in Elixir. Like,
Okay,
I
I'll
don't, I
write
don't
that
think
code in F sharp.
I'm gonna say there's not too many languages where you can't write bad code. Like, there's like what, maybe Haskell and OCaml and I guess F sharp too, right? I mean, like
No,
it
you
might
can do
look
it. You can do
bad,
it in F
but
sharp
okay. I'm gonna say
because
it
it
might
still
look
supports
bad, but
.NET interop. So
oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's probably. I keep hearing with Haskell, if it compiles, then it probably works. And I never
right.
really. The only purely the only pure functional programming language that I know now, and it's weird because I can say that I know now because I've been doing Elm
Hmm.
for 2 months, and I publish a video on the status of Nikeza every week. It's called Elm colon week whatever number of my journey. With that, even though I get things to compile, I still have like some bugs that take me forever to really resolve.
Hmm.
So I guess I'm answering my own question of you can still do things poorly regardless of if it's a pure functional programming language. I can't speak about Haskell, but I assume if Elm is in the same category as Haskell, even though Elm is focused on client side, um, if you give me something, I could misuse it. I'll find out a way. So,
Sometimes it's a really valuable skill, though.
yeah, but it does change the way I write F sharp code now. So like now, I mean, it, I jumped on the server side of Project Nikeza where I was doing all the client side in Elm,
Hmm.
and I really want to get this thing deployed. And so like I'm jumping on the server side to hurry up and expedite this process. And I find myself actually writing Elm-like code in F sharp. It's kind of hard for me to articulate without showing you the code, but it's my style is, and I guess I'll ask you the same thing. I find that based on learning completely different paradigms, even paradigms of functional programming,
Hmm.
let alone programming in general, that my style of writing kind of carries over based on what I've learned, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you ever returned to like, what did you do? You did Java before? Or you did
Um,
Ruby? You look like you did Ruby. You look like one of those Ruby people.
I did not do Ruby. I
Okay.
like Ruby. What did I do? I mean, most of my career has been like C sharp, Java, and Python.
Okay.
Um,
So when you return to C sharp, do you find yourself writing completely different from other C sharp developers on your team?
it's been so long.
I'm doing C
Let's
sharp
see.
and F sharp, so I'm porting like C sharp code to F sharp libraries, just because I have a position where I have the power to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so people don't like it, but it doesn't matter because I'm calling the
If
shots where I work at.
if I
But
was working in a C sharp project, I probably would do the exact same thing. Uh,
yeah,
I mean, C sharp. I don't know. C sharp is. I haven't used it really in like a good 3 years or something. I don't know. Like in a real like actual project, it feels like it's been a while, but I do know that like the language is evolving, and I'm not sure. What, like it seems like it's going into some weird like territory where it's like
it's going
hard code.
functional.
Yeah,
It's the 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 last version has pretty much been I don't want to say stealing, but borrowing the features of F sharp, and so it's I wouldn't call F sharp a scalpel. I would call F sharp. What's a good analogy? C sharp is a Swiss Army knife or a sledgehammer. You know, um, F sharp I would like to say is more of a gun where you can take the butt of the gun and you can use it to drive in nails if you want, or you can use the barrel of the gun and shoot a bullet out of it, and it will hit the target that you're aiming for. So it could be surgical, or you can use it for other reasons that it wasn't really intended for. And that's the best analogy I could give. But C sharp is just C sharp, looking at C sharp code and legacy code, and being hired to refactor it and to write some unit tests and all that stuff. C sharp just requires diligence, and so what surprises me, I don't know if there's such thing as legacy Elixir code, but what what bothers me is when I work with C sharp developers, they don't realize that they're working in a messy code base.
Hmm.
Like even when you have these Visual Studio extensions, I guess that is similar to like what is it, ReSharper or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They'll see these green and red squigglies littered all throughout the code base that represent recommendations, or shall I say, pretty similar to lint tools.
Christmas.
But they just look at it like they don't act on it. They just think
Yeah.
it's like decoration. They don't, and so they're pretty verbose where they'll when they do a declaration and a definition, like they won't use within C sharp var. Like they won't take advantage of what is it called, inference, that the
Uh-huh.
compiler already knows the type pretty much. And so you don't really have to say int my int equals 99. You can just say var my int equals 99. Like they find themselves still telling the compiler what the compiler already knows. And as a result, it kind of deviates from it being a language which is meant for humans. And so anyway, I'm saying all this because one is I feel like working in C sharp is just really nasty, and two is I find that developers that haven't really worked in a language that reduces the noise within a code base, which I'm sure Elixir does, F sharp does. Within C sharp, I find that people think this is normal, just to have a lot of distractions and a lot of verbose code and braces everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird when people don't see the distractions that you see, and then they get mad at you for deleting it all or removing it all. So
Yeah. I've seen that happen before. With most of the stuff, I see that I've seen is like just ignoring like linting suggestions with JavaScript, and um, no, you just have to like when you're working with people, it's hard sometimes. It's so hard, but you have to like just kind of explain why, or just start a conversation, and there might be like a reason why they're ignoring that one. I mean, they can't ignore every one of them, but there might be like like one or two specific ones that there's a
yeah,
reason to.
I find that the most popular argument is, "Oh, well, Scott, that's your personal opinion. I prefer to be explicit when I write code." And I'm
Mhm.
like, I understand you prefer to be explicit, but to who? To the compiler? It already knows. Like you don't have to be explicit to the compiler. It knows already, right? The less code I have to read, I think the higher probability of me being able to digest it as a human being. And so I try to make that argument, but we're creatures of habits, and so people will cling to their habits as comfort. So,
Yeah. Do
that's
they
it.
have like I guess do they have do you have like linting rules or whatever, like I guess company wide linting rules?
Uh, so the short answer is there, there's not. When you say linting rules, do you mean are there coding conventions that they need to comply with?
Yeah.
No, there's no structure at all, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
So no, I think that the biggest growth opportunity, like the word I use, growth opportunity for them,
Yeah.
is to learn that the IDE has tools to basically dumb down what they're doing. So like there's tools within the IDE, or in this case, I'm speaking about Visual Studio, where you can identify maintainability concerns and safely refactor it instead of you having to identify this using your brain and manually doing this. And so they're not aware of the tooling that is already out there. And so they're spending a lot of time trying to do things that doesn't really require their time at all because the machine can do it for them. And so I find myself trying to tiptoe around how to mentor them or educate them on what they already have without overwhelming them or being a mosquito in their ear. Like there's so much psychology involved with programming that the university never ever explained to me.
There is.
And maybe it's not the university's job, but like there's so much psychology that's required to deliver software that they never ever shared with me, that they never ever taught me.
They never told you about working with people.
No.
And people, there's psychology in working with people.
And there's standards that you have to attempt to evolve.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of that stuff you just kind of like learn as you like in your career. But it would be nice to have like a head start. Whenever I don't know if you're doing like in college or like a boot camp or something, just like people skills. You're going to be dealing with this type of people.
Well, you seem like a soft-spoken person. I don't view you as a Samuel Jackson, you know, getting excited and calling people out in the middle of design meetings. Like, I used to do that. I calm down a lot, you know, but like, because, you know, people also have their own selfish agendas that have everything to do with promoting their careers versus actually solving the problem in the least complex way. And that's something that I usually like have a brain hemorrhage over or go into labor over. So
yeah, I don't really yell in general, but I have been known to be moody by lots of people and say things like not towards people, but just like if we're in a meeting for too long, like why are we still in this meeting? Like we didn't even discuss what we needed to do in the meetings. I haven't had this problem with my last couple of jobs, but there was one job where it's like we've been in this meeting for like an hour. We have not discussed what we were supposed to be discussing.
No action items taken at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I am. No, I don't yell. No.
No comment. I'm about to wrap this up. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss before we end this? I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Sometimes I just want to talk to people that care. It's like the human factor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even if we're solving different problems and we speak different languages, sometimes it's just reassuring that like I'm not alone and there's someone else that cares just as much as I do, and that there's certain things that we can relate. Because sometimes I feel like I'm in environments where like either people can't relate to what I care about or I can't relate to what they care about or what they hold on to. So sometimes it's just I just like, yo, will you talk to me? Can we record this? I want to replay it, you know, when I drive. So
yeah, I totally understand. It's that people thing again. It's like there's so many types of different people in the world. Sometimes I kind of want to be like not a project manager, but like like an entertainment manager. Like, can you imagine the types of personalities they have to deal with? It's all over, and they just like, well, the good ones they deal with them all. And it's like, how do you do that? Because I would go crazy. But it's like something it's a really good skill to have.
I wouldn't know. I couldn't be a manager. Like,
Yeah, me either. But it's a nice skill to have.
like because like you know that the majority of people, they're not interested in the truth. They're only interested in accommodating what they already believe, with emphasis on accommodating. And so, like, that would bother me if I know that people are not going to adapt and people are not going to do root cause analysis to figure out how they could be more effective, but they will just cling on to their current system of doing things and it's not progressing the business. Like, I would have issue with that, you know? But then there's managers that believe in stability of the existing team over the reason why we're in business, which is to make a lot of money. Make a lot of it, like reduce costs, maximize profit. And my personal experience is I don't think a lot of middle managers get that. A lot of middle managers, they just want to maintain a happy home, but they don't understand. Maybe I don't understand that. I always thought at the university that it's all about maximizing profit, and one way to maximize profit is to maximize efficiency and effectiveness. So that's the part where I can't be a manager, or at least a middle manager, because I see things differently. So.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I don't have anything else to say. Thanks for sharing a Sunday morning with me. It's been real.
Oh, no problem.
And are you still doing your blog? Like, what are you active on?
That's a good question. So no, my blog is. I'm in the middle of like trying to get my blog back up and running in a way that I'll actually like do some updates to it. So no, it's not up and running yet. I don't know. The only thing I'm really active on probably is Twitter and like Elixir stuff, like Elixir Slack and the Elixir forum. But I guess mostly Twitter.
You participate heavily on Stack Overflow or no?
Nah, I'm actually kind of mad at Stack Overflow. Like every time I try to ask a question, it never gets to the point where people can answer it because there's like the people come in and they're like, you have to ask this question a different way.
The moderators.
Yeah.
Let's take a couple minutes to talk about that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm surprised that you said that because I assume that you're asking questions about Elixir, and I consider you an expert at Elixir. I mean, regardless of how humble you are, I've heard you on Elixir Fountain, and I don't even do Elixir, but I like to listen to podcasts about other programming languages just so I'm aware of what's out there.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised to hear that you go through the same things I go through. The difference between you and I, maybe that there's one person on Stack Overflow that just does not like me, and that person deducts. He basically deducts a point from my question every single time I ask a question.
Wow.
I know who he is. This person is probably one of the smartest F# developers in the world, right? But he does not like me at all. But I have a lot of respect for him because I can't deny how brilliant he is. He just doesn't like me. That. What's up?
So did you just hate that? Like you are. I can't hate you.
Yeah, it's like you know your stuff. You are better than me as a developer. Like, it's undeniable. And I even though you don't respect me, I respect you. And it is. I have to be honest. I have to seek the truth when there's someone that's more advanced than I am.
Yeah.
Only thing I can do is embrace it and learn from them. Period. You know what I mean? Like, it's futile to try to contest or try to battle someone that clearly knows way more than you do. So just embrace it, even if they don't like you as a human being. So
yeah. But no, I've been giving, like, even before like I was into it, like, so I gave up my Stack Overflow just because every time I would like ask some question and it would just be like, it was a mess. So I'm like, no, I give up. I'm just going to Google and click on Stack Overflow links, but I'm not asking questions anymore. Not gonna happen.
Now, sometimes I would ask a question that is very concise and to the point, and they would deduct a point from my question. And I'm like, but they wouldn't leave a comment about what I did wrong in my question. I'm like, My question is very straight to the point. Like, I don't understand why you deducted my question. Like, what did I do wrong when I asked this question?
Right.
Do you really want me to write a 5-paragraph essay on something that is just an answer of maybe like one sentence? Like, how do I attach a debugger to .NET Core? Like, how do I do it? That's not the specific example, but it's something like, well, how do I do this? And that's it. It's not how do I write this code? What? No, it's nothing meta about it. There's no critical thinking. It's how do I accomplish this? Because there's a certain step 1, step 2 that I need to do, and I don't know how to do it. And people would just roast me, man. So I'm with you, but I haven't given up on Stack Overflow because I need Stack Overflow. Because if I can't find an answer, then I mean, I'm trying to deploy a product. Like, it has to get done. I have to get the answer somehow, somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's useful, but no questions from me.
Hold up. What's your name on Stack Overflow?
Good question. Who's it? Brian JOS? I think I'm Brian JOS pretty much everywhere that I am.
It's Brian Dash?
No, just Brian. So BRYANJOS. No dashes.
Let me see this. Let me. Hold up. I want to see. Oh, why did you show up on here and you're not on here? Hold on, let me click something else. I don't think you're Brian JOS.
I don't know what I am. Let me see.
Because there's only 4 results on here. Oh, no. You're on here. They're talking about your GitHub Brian JOS Geo package, but someone else was asking a question about it.
Yeah, that's one part where I should probably be more active on the Stack Overflow, is answering questions about stuff I've done, but I don't even know how to.
This isn't your name on Stack Overflow.
I'm looking at it right now. I'll send you
Oh, thanks.
a link, but
I want to see an example of your point deductions.
let's see if this works. Did you get that?
Let me check. How do I do this message window thingy? In Twitter or the group chat?
I sent it in Hangouts. I'm sorry, not in the Hangouts like group chat, but you know what? Let me send it.
You send it on Twitter.
Yeah, 1 second. No, I don't even know why I'm logged in right now. Oh, I think it was like giving somebody that I knew like some upvotes on something. So that's what Stack Overflow is. My Stack Overflow account is good for.
You send it on Twitter or what do you say? Oh,
Twitter.
Okay, I see it. Let me see. Yeah, because people roast me on there. I feel like they expect me to write like a 5-paragraph essay on a question that just doesn't require that much info. Dude, you have a reputation of 6.
Is that good or bad?
Hold up. No, or maybe. I guess your reputation isn't points. Is it reputation points or no? Hold up.
I don't know.
You don't have a profile picture on here. Let me see. Let me see this over here. Yeah, you only have 6 points. I won't say that's bad if you're not on here, but it's bad if you are on here.
Oh wait, I think I found the last question I asked
Like,
on here.
I have 4,300 points. You have 6.
Okay, so I'm a little behind.
You've been a member since 2015, though. So
yeah. But look at that. I did have one question that I asked that got through, but nobody answered it. Oh well.
You didn't put up a bounty for it?
No.
You know what a bounty is?
Like, is there a bounty in Stack Overflow?
Yeah. So if your question is not getting enough attention, you can basically put a bounty up, which means that you're sacrificing some of the points that you have and giving it to another person. to answer your question. But you can't do a bounty because you only have 6 points. And I think bounties start off at like 200 or 150 or something.
Well, it's okay because I answered that question on my own, and it was 2 years ago and 1 month ago. It was 2 years and 1 month ago. So
Dude, you only have, I guess all your questions got closed out because you don't have any history. If I click on all, yeah, you only have one link on here.
they stole my history.
Okay. You're just a quiet dude. You don't want to expose yourself to, you don't want to expose what you don't know to the public. So that's why your profile looks like this. I got it. I'm on to you.
Yeah, but no,
All
I
right.
should probably answer questions. I should probably be more active in answering questions. I don't know. Yeah, I
I
have a
don't
friend of
know.
mine who's like big into Stack Overflow, and um, you ever heard the name George Mauer?
No, but
Okay,
I'm in the .NET camp, so I'm not.
well
What
he's in
camp
the
does he
.NET.
belong to?
No, he was heavy in the .NET camp.
Okay. No,
As
I'm
long
not
as
familiar.
but no, he's pretty active on Stack Overflow.
Okay. No, I used to be really active where I wanted to get to like 3,000 points. So I was trying to, I had a quota or a system of answering a question every day.
Hmm.
And then once I got that, I pretty much stopped. I hit my goal. So I was like, I don't have to go anymore.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I'm about to hop off. Hey, thanks again for having a conversation. I think it's been productive. I learned that I'm not alone in some of the things that I'm concerned with. And that's good stuff. So,
yeah,
Jill.
definitely.
All right, Brian. Adios. Take care. When I stop the broadcast button, I'm actually going to hang up too, unless
Oh,
there's something you want to say offline.
nah,